This is Vivian with VB Designs, and I am back today to do part 2 of the Dollar Tree Junk Journal Challenge by Paper Terrace. And the last time I showed you my supplies, I did switch out a couple of supplies, so I'm going to show you those right now because I realized that my bag that I'm going to convert into a cover was a little longer than some of the cardboard that had come with some of the packages. So I did go ahead, and pick up the 6-piece poster board set so that I can make some spines for my cover. I also end up picking up these file folders. I didn't notice them before when I was in the Dollar Tree, and so when I went back to get some extra poster board, I found these colored file folders, and I thought, okay, I can definitely use these in my junk journal. And so I am also going to swap something else out for these file folders. So keep track of what I'm doing so that at the end of the challenge, I can give you a complete list and total of the items that I used. So right now, today, I did say that I was going to show you guys how I've taken this bag apart. Now, I've done several of them, probably about 10 now. So I am not going to show you how I take the complete bag off because I'm going to be using my hot air gun, and that is pretty loud. But I'm going to give you kind of a demonstration. Now, because these bags are actually glued to the cardboard cover, as you can see here, they just don't pull off on their own. In fact, I noticed when I was taking them apart, the glue that they use to apply the cardboard cover to the bag is different than the glue that they used to adhere the bottom of the bag and the side of the bags together. So I found out a couple of things. The hot air gun will definitely do both, but I will show you the difference in what the bag looks like after I've taken it apart. But just to give you an idea of how I do this, and I apologize, it is a hot air gun, so again, it's going to be loud, but I am not going to do the whole thing today. I already have one that I took apart, and so I am going to just show you kind of a technique. Now, if you don't have a hot air gun, you might try using a hair blower. I have used those in the past for a lot of different crafts, and they have worked to some degree. I've even used them to take old tile off of my kitchen floor when I was replacing it. So I do know they're hot enough to melt glue and vinyl. But I do use the air gun. So I'm just going to do a quick thing. First thing I start with is this piece right here on the side. This is the bottom that flaps over. And I start with this piece, and then I gradually take this piece off. So we'll start on that, and it doesn't take very long. So here we go. If this bothers you, please mute your sound, and we'll get started. And hopefully you can hear me over this. You need to be careful when you use this. I have burnt my fingers. So if you have silicone finger guards, use them. Right now I can't find mine, so I think I need to go out and buy some more. Just run it down the seam here a few times. and it loosens the glue fairly quickly. So I give it a couple more swipes. Turn it off. And as you can see, the glue starts to come away. So we can pretty much almost take this one completely apart. It does want to stick a little bit as it's drying, but for the most part, it is starting to come loose. So I got this side loose. So now I'm going to do this side right here. Okay, now let's see what happens. See if we got it hot enough. I think we did. Yep, we did. And now this seam right here should come right off. And there we go. So this side is open, and I do the same thing on this side. I just heat up this fold right here, heat up this fold, and when I open it up, it'll open up completely wide. The next thing I do is I look for the seam that puts the bag together, the front and back. And when I find it, this is it right here, I will slowly heat up that seam, and this completely comes apart at that point. So once you get your seam open, you can actually lay this whole thing out flat. And the next thing you have to do is take the cover off. And that was a little more tricky. I found that if I just kind of lay it out flat, figure out on the inside, you can kind of see where the glue is on the inside, and figure out where it is. Then you just apply your hot air, and this is actually laying flat, so it's a lot easier than what I'm showing you. You can apply your hot air and slowly peel these off, and then you just go around the sides, you peel them all off, and then you'll do the other side, and then you'll have two separate pieces that look like this right here. So we have two separate pieces that look like this right here. And then you will have your bag. And this is what the bag looks like. Now it is still got a little bit of sticky glue on it, but I'm not too worried about that because this is going to be the cover, so it is going to you know, not be noticeable. But this is the bag, and this is what I'm going to use for the back of my journal. And so I will glue this down after I get my spine and everything made. So we have that. Now the next thing I did, just to save time, is I took, and let me get my glue gun out of the way, or not my glue gun, but my hot air gun. Okay. And the next thing I took then was my poster board. And what I did was I traced, and let me get my poster board here. I got everything piled up on my cart. What I did was I just simply traced the outline of this. I tried gluing this directly to this poster board and then cut it out, and I found for some reason it was a little harder to do than what I anticipated. So what I end up doing is I just end up tracing around, and I turned it over and traced around this side so that any ink marks will get on the back here and won't be noticeable. And then I cut it out, and then I just glued it on. And then I let it dry. I set some books on it because, you know, of course, it wants to warp. It's paper. And so any little edges that I need to tidy up later, I will tidy up. So that's what I did, and I have both of these completely covered with the white poster board now. So it is a little stiffer than before, which is a good thing. So let me move my silicone pad out of the way. Actually, I got this. I can't remember if I found it. I think I got it from Temu. And I was looking for something that I could use to for my glue gun, as well as anything else that I use that's hot. And it's been perfect. I've been using it for a while now and haven't had any issues with it. So that's a good little silicone pad. If you don't have one, you can probably pick up anywhere if you need it. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I am going to put my spine on. So I've already done this just to save time. I've cut out 2 white pieces of the poster board, and I'm going to glue those together. And then I cut out a blue piece because I haven't decided if I'm just going to use part of the bag that may be left over and use that on the bottom of this. So I kind of gave myself one of these, but the first 2 are the poster board, and I'm going to go ahead and glue those together. And I just quickly measured them. They're a little longer than what I'm going to need, so I might end up just giving them a little bit of a curve, just to kind of match the curve on the bottom of the cover. So right now, that's the first thing I'm going to do. So I will get my glue out, and we'll do some quick gluing right here. I'm just doubling these up for stability purposes because it is going to be the spine. It is going to be a 5-hole because it is so long. These are 2-inch, so it is going to have a 2-inch spine. I'm going to try to do 3 signatures on this. It just depends on how I'm feeling when I start putting the signatures together. But we're just going to glue these 2 pieces together real quick. And hopefully it won't take very long to dry. And we can move on to the next step. Now, like I said, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with, let me get my scraper out here, because it looks like it needs a little bit of help. And I've moved everything around because I was teaching classes downstairs and can't find my stuff. I brought it all back upstairs, and now I can't find anything because I didn't put it away. So it's just laying everywhere. Now this is interesting. Don't even know what I did with my third one. I have three little carts that I keep my pens and paper and things in, and I can't find my third one, so I have no idea. It'll show up somewhere, I'm sure. All right, so it looks like I'm just going to have to figure this out and do it like this. Okay. All right. Now, next thing I want to do is, of course, get an actual measurement of my cover and how long I want the spines. So, and everything's a little wacky because of course we're dealing with cardboard. So it looks like maybe, maybe, because I thought about, again, like I said, maybe cutting this, but I don't think I'm going to. I think what I'm going to do is just leave it straight. So I will get my pencil and make a mark. I want to make sure I get that correct and make a mark right here. Okay. Of where that is. And let's just see if we can cut a straight line. Oops. Of course I would wear a long sleeve shirt. So let's just cut a straight line here and see what we can do. We may have to go through this a couple of times. And, oh, I went through my cutting board, but that's okay because I get these at Dollar Tree, two for $1.25, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so we've got this. Now, one of the things that I use is seam binding tape, but I have started using this athletic tape from Dollar Tree, and I noticed that it works pretty good. So I am going to go ahead and cut a piece. And of course, I have to stand up to do this because, unfortunately, I'm a shorty. And for me to be able to really get a good look at what I'm doing, I have to stand up. So, we want to make sure when we put this together, and I'm going to lay this down before I stick it onto something I don't want to stick it on, I want a gap in here. Maybe about 1/8 of an inch. So, because these things want to move around on me a little bit, I'm just going to weigh them down. And I'm going to make sure that I get about 1/8 of an inch because we want to be able to bend this. Okay. And so we're going to lay this tape, just like this. And we'll start in the center, and we'll just follow it down. And we're keeping an eye on our gap here, because this is a little tricky sometimes, trying to keep the gap. Okay. All right, I think we got it. So we've got this down on this side, and this way you can go like this, and you've got that little gap there. Now we also want to do this side. So hopefully I'm still in the frame. You guys can still see me. And we'll get this side done. And I want to make sure that everything lines up. So let's kind of get an idea here where this is. And I'm going to, just so that for my own peace of mind, I'm going to mark, because these are not, you know, book shape. So I am going to mark for my own peace of mind with a pencil where these need to line up with the other side. And this is just, again, for me. And I'm sorry if I'm blocking the view. Okay. So, looks pretty good. Hopefully when we fold it, it will be all lined up. Get another piece of tape. Okay. So, again, weigh these down. We don't want them sliding everywhere. And I'm going to, again, kind of go with what I'm noticing here. Again, we want to keep that little bit of an eighth. So we'll start up here, very carefully get that centered. Again, might have to do a little bit of adjustment. I think we are on this one a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit. Because since I can kind of see through this tape, I can see where my 1/8 of an inch gap is. All right. So, we have the spine on. And what I will do is, I will decide what I'm going to do as far as if I'm going to put the blue on this, or if I'm going to try to cut a piece and match it to this. So this is just part one. I hope you guys were able to see everything okay. Again, this is a DT Junk Journal Challenge from Jessica at Paper Terrace, and it is hashtag Paper Terrace DTJJ. And everybody, have a great day, and I'll catch you later.